You are running webinars in Zoom and you want that data in HubSpot. Who registered, who attended, how long they stayed. This is what we're going to cover in this video. I'm going to walk you through the whole process, how to create a webinar in Zoom, how to sync Zoom webinars with HubSpot, and we're going to also check out what information we get in HubSpot when we are integrating Zoom webinars with HubSpot. So let's get into it. First, we need to create a webinar in Zoom, so later on we can sync this with HubSpot. So to create a webinar, go to your Zoom account. Then on the right corner, you see the Schedule a Webinar button. Click on it. Here you need to add the details of your webinar, starting from the topic, which is the name of your webinar. I'm going to call it Test Webinar. Then you need to add the description, after which you can set up the date and time. I'll select next Wednesday, let's say 10 a.m. for example. I want to keep the duration to 1 hour and I'll keep the time zone as it is. We definitely want to make the registration required. And we don't want any passcode, we don't need any friction. Next, we want to turn on the video for both hosts and panelists. I'll keep the audio settings as it is. After audio, you have some preferences. I recommend to turn on the automatically record webinar option. So in case you forget to record your webinar, it will be done automatically. And I will select, local computer is fine for me. Everything is ready. So I'm going to click on schedule. So here you can see that we have a webinar ID. This is what we're going to need when we are syncing Zoom webinars with HubSpot. Now that we have our webinar in Zoom, let's go to HubSpot and integrate Zoom webinars with HubSpot. Two things you need before you do any of this though. You need to be a super admin in HubSpot and you also need admin access in Zoom. Once you have it, go into your HubSpot account, click the marketplace icon in the top. Then select HubSpot Marketplace. In the search bar, you can search for Zoom. Here, we want the first one. This orange button that says Manage, it will show Install for you. So you'll need to click this Install button, then sign in with your Zoom credentials, hit Allow to any permissions it will ask, and you are back in HubSpot. The whole process will take you a minute or two. Once Zoom shows up under Connected Apps, click on it. Then go to the Webinars tab. Click the Global Settings. Scroll a bit down to the Webinars part. This is where the actual sync gets configured. So go to the Webinars section, scroll a bit down. You will see a toggle that says Sync Webinar Data. Here, it's the first one under Webinars. Turn that on because that's the main switch. Without it, nothing from your webinars goes to HubSpot. Then below that, you can also choose whether to sync recordings and transcripts. You can do that for all users, just specific ones, or nobody. That one is up to you depending on what you need. And one more thing in the global settings that's important, it's the exclusions section. You can put your company's domain in here. That stops your own team members from getting created as contacts in HubSpot every time they join a webinar to help you test or moderate. There's also one thing that you need to pay attention to. If you scroll up, go to the User Management tab, click on the global settings again. Here you have the Manage Individual User Settings. You need to configure this if you have multiple people on your team hosting webinars. For each user, you can control whether their newly created webinars sync automatically or not. If you don't set it up per user, a webinar they create might not sync unless someone goes in and manually enables it. You can search your team members by name. Let's say I want to find my user settings. Click the user settings on the right side. You can do all the configurations here for this specific user. Then save and close the tab. All right, so the sync is on. Now someone registers for your webinars. Let's see what lands in HubSpot. So first they get created as a contact, or if they already exist in your HubSpot CRM, their record gets updated. That part is automatic. Then you get 4 contact properties that Zoom creates in HubSpot. So these are the 4 properties that it creates. The first one is last registered Zoom webinar, which is the URL of the most recent webinar they registered for. Next, you have the total number of Zoom webinars attended, which shows how many webinars they actually showed up to. After that, you have the total number of Zoom webinar registrations. This is how many of your webinars they have signed up for in total. And the fourth one is the average Zoom webinar attendance duration, which shows the average percentage of your webinars they stayed for. And on the contacts timeline, you will see a Zoom event with the webinar name, the date, when they joined, and when they left. That's the activity log. You can use these 4 contact properties and also marketing event filters for segmentation inside HubSpot, so for building lists actually. Let's create one together so you can see how it works. Go to your HubSpot account, then in the left menu, go to CRM section and select Segments Lists. In the top right corner, you have the Create Segment option. Click on it. We need to select Contacts and let's click Next. Here we need to add a filter, so click on Add Filter button. Search for Zoom and you will have all 4 properties here, so you can use them to create any segments that you want. And if you want to use marketing event filters, go to the Events section, look for Marketing Events. You can select any of this and create a segment based on that filter that you just created. I'm always a bit disappointed here because Zoom doesn't allow you to create lists based on webinar engagement data. For example, poll answers or Q&A participation. Imagine if you have a poll during your webinar asking, would you like to get a demo of our product? You want to reach out to these people who answered yes immediately after the webinar, right? You want to transfer all these lists to your sales team so they can reach out to these people immediately. With Zoom, this is not possible. And not only this, there is no way you can act on the webinar engagement data with Zoom. If this is also a problem for you, you can check out Contrast, because with Contrast, you get all the webinar engagement data. You can even create one-click lists in HubSpot to act on this data. So if you are happy with the data that Zoom provides you, really good for you. But if you want more customization and you want to act on the webinar engagement data, then check out Contrast. Now let's talk about emails. If you are using Zoom, then this is definitely the part that you hate the most, because Zoom has 0 customization for your emails, forms, and landing pages. Let me actually show you how the emails look and what your registrants are getting from you. So if you go to the email settings under your webinar, you'll be able to edit any emails that are here. But with edit, I mean very small part of the email body. So let's try to edit the confirmation email. To edit the email, you need to click in the small edit button. You can see that I'm only able to edit the subject line and the very small part of the email body. The rest looks just very zoomy, and you can't add any branding to these emails. That's why we don't want to send anything from Zoom. This, of course, creates lots of extra work for us because we need to create everything manually inside HubSpot, and we need to do this for each webinar. But if you want your registrants to actually know that it's you and your company that are hosting these webinars and not Zoom, then you either have to switch to a better webinar platform that provides better customization and is more flexible, or you have to create everything manually inside HubSpot. You will need a landing page, form, lots of workflows, and emails. We do have separate videos covering each of them, so if you're not familiar with this, go check them out first. Now I'm gonna go back to HubSpot and create a workflow that will automatically register contacts into Zoom webinar and send them a welcome email. Why I'm saying welcome email and not a confirmation email? Because if you're moving your confirmation email to HubSpot, first you will need to create a custom contact property for each webinar that you are hosting, because if you reuse the same property across webinars, values will get overwritten for contacts who register for multiple events. After you have the custom contact property, you will need to create a workflow telling Zoom to move that unique join link for each attendee to HubSpot, to the contact property that you just created. And after that, you can use that property as a token in your email, so you can create a confirmation email inside HubSpot. This is actually very tricky because the chances that something will break are very high, and also you cannot send a calendar invite to your registrants. So we don't want to use this. It's better to keep Zoom's confirmation email even though it's not customizable at all. That's why in this video we'll use a welcome email instead of a confirmation email. Now, we want to create a workflow, so when someone fills out your HubSpot form on your own HubSpot landing page that you created for your webinars, they get registered to your Zoom webinar and receive a welcome email from you. Basically, what will happen is HubSpot sends their first name, last name, and email to Zoom. Zoom registers them and fires the confirmation email, after which HubSpot sends them the welcome email. To set that up, we're going to navigate to the left menu, go to the automation, select workflows. In the top right corner, you will see create workflow button. Click on it and select from scratch. Our trigger is a specific form submission. So I'm going to select when filter criteria is met from the left menu. I'll search for form submission. I'll select it. Next, you have to select the form. My form is the webinar registration form, so I'm going to click on it. I only want the contacts that filled out this form in my landing page. So I'm going to tick this box that says refined by a page location. Under the search drop-down, you will need to select the landing page that you created for your webinar. For me, it's the webinar registration landing page. Select it and click Save. Next, we need to set up the action. Our action is to register these people to our webinar. I'm going to click this plus icon. I'll search for Zoom and select the action that says Add Contact to Zoom Webinar. Here, we're going to need our webinar ID. So I'm going to go back to Zoom, go to Webinar Details, copy the ID, then go back to HubSpot. I'm going to paste the ID here. You should remove the spaces and click Save. Now that these people are registered to my webinar, they're going to receive the confirmation email from Zoom. And I don't want to send my welcome email immediately because it's going to be too much emails and it will be annoying for them. So I want to put a delay after I register them to my webinar. If you click on this plus icon, on the left side you will see delay. I want to set a specific time, so from this drop down I'm going to select for a set amount of time, and I will select 4 hours. Click Save. Next, I'll need to set up the action to send the email. So again, click on this plus icon. Under communication, you have send email. So select send email. And here you will need to select the template that you prepared. For me, it's going to be the welcome email. Here you have a small preview so you can see what you are sending to your registrants. Then click Save, of course. If everything looks correct, you can review and turn on your workflow. On the top right corner, click on the Review and Turn On button. I don't want to go into the details here, so I'm going to skip to turn on. HubSpot is going to generate a name and description for my workflow. You can, of course, edit it. So I'm going to turn on the workflow. That's it. So everyone that registers for my webinar from now on will get a welcome email from me. And unfortunately, on the follow-up side, with Zoom, you can only branch on attended versus didn't attend, and maybe build out sequences that will send the recording to people who attended and a different email to people who didn't show up. So this is Zoom HubSpot integration. It does the basics, of course. Contacts get created, attendance gets logged. You can even automate the registration. So for teams getting started, this is a reasonable place to begin. But if you want more real, measurable results from your webinars, you can't achieve this with Zoom. It gives you only 4 contact properties. You can't act on webinar engagement, and your whole follow-up logic is attended versus didn't attend. Once you want more from your webinar data, you keep running into walls. That's the whole reason HubSpot uses Contrast for running their own webinars. Instead of 4 contact properties, you get 13 on Contrast. You get the CTA clicks, Q&A activity, poll answers, live views, replay views, and all this is updated in real time on the contact record, so you can use them to act on the webinar engagement data on HubSpot. That's the gap the Zoom integration doesn't close. So this was the full HubSpot Zoom webinar sync, how to set it up, what you get, where it falls short, and what the alternative looks like. Hope this was helpful, and see you in the next one.